Hey guys, Anthony and Matt here with AM Outdoors 101, and I just wanted to give you another part of kind of the bait and tackle series. I just want to go over a few things, a few key things to making a bass fishing trip successful. First of all, when you're choosing a rod, for those of you that are just starting out, there's tons and tons of different rods, and don't think you have to go and spend tons of money on a fishing pole, because that's not true. You can catch them on just about anything, but you wanna be kind of in the middle of the road on it as far as price goes. What we have here is an All-Star. This is a Carolina rig. It's a medium heavy 7-foot, and right now this is basically my all-around rod. I know it seems a little heavy, but I've been fishing a lot of frogs and stuff like that lately, and it has a really strong backbone. As you can see, it's just about 6 inches longer than this other one, but I really like it. It's longer, so you can get better flip casts and longer, more accurate casts. And this one here is this one's a medium heavy Castaway. This is another rod right around the same price range as this All-Star. Neither one of them are the tournament or anything like that. They're both kind of the basic, right around $40. This one here is a little bit shorter, has a little bit thinner profile, and it's lighter weight. It's a little bit easier whenever you're making a lot of casts. So it's kind of more of the quote unquote worm rod, but you really don't need a different rod for different baits. You know what I mean? This is a good base rod right here, something to kind of use everything on. And I just wanted to move on to hooks. The biggest thing with hooks and tackle and weights is just use it in proportion. And what I mean by that is you don't want to use, like right here for instance, is a 6/0 hook. As you can see, this 6/0 hook is a lot bigger than this 3/0. And the reason why is you don't want to, or this may be a 4/0, but you don't want to hook a 4/0 hook on a little bitty hook on this huge worm. You want to use something around this size, so you can clear the plastic and get farther down in the belly for better chance at a hook set. Here's just in comparison. You don't want this halfway down your lizard. As for weights, bigger baits are obviously going to be heavier weight, so you want to use a lighter sinker that'll give it that average fall time. And for little worms like this, little lizards like this, you want to use like a 1/4, I think. This one's a 1/16. You want to use about a 1/4 on this. I personally like to use these little weights all the time, just to give me a slower fall, and it just gives the bass more time to look at it kind of in its natural state, falling, when you're not jerking on it or reeling it in or anything like that. And as for line goes, there's three different types. There's monofilament, which I have here, which is the clear, kind of your standard fishing line, what you've always seen. And then there's braid, which is basically like a thin rope that's been literally braided together to make an extremely strong and low profile line. What I mean by low profile is the consistency is not very thick. They also have fluorocarbon, which is basically a monofilament that has zero stretch, and that's good for, I believe it's probably better than monofilament in some cases. Because of the no stretch, you get better hook sets, but monofilament's kind of an all-around thing. We fish 10 to 12 pound monofilament when we're just fishing worms and stuff like that out in open water. But anytime we get into frog fishing or any topwater fishing, anything with thick cover, to be honest with you, we use braid. And this braid right here is 40 pounds. Anything from 30 to 50 pounds will work. And it says right here, as you can see, 10-pound monofilament equivalent. So it's the same consistency as the 12-pound monofilament. That pretty much covers hooks, weights, line, and rods. I'm going to go ahead and pass the camera over to Matt, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about reels and other equipment.
Alright guys, I'm just going to talk to you briefly about pretty much the essentials. Well, of course you need a reel, but the essentials and tools you probably need to carry whenever you're going bass fishing. You don't really need a scale. I mean, this is a Berkley scale picked up from Academy. Obviously that's where I do all my fishing shopping. I think this was like 20 bucks. You know, it's something cool to have, you know. If you catch a big bass, you can tell people exactly how much it weighed instead of lying about it. But here's really what you need. These are 3 different types of pliers. We have these surgical type pliers. These are pretty heavy duty ones. These are probably your second best bet. These are really good pliers. You can get deep down in a fish if he swallows it or something like that. So those are a really good choice. These are probably the cheapest, best value. Here we come to, these are some Rapala fishing pliers. As you can see, it's got a little hook thing at the end, so whenever you grab onto the hook, it doesn't slide out of the pliers. It's got a line cutter on it, which the surgicals do not have, so that's a bonus. But these, you really don't have as good of reach or control as the surgicals, which is a minus. These are a little bit more expensive too. These will run you about 10 to 15 bucks. But this right here, this Baker fish hook retriever thing is mine. It's pretty much the best thing ever. It was 16 bucks. So, you know, it's a little more expensive, but it's really good. It's got this aluminum tube and everything's pretty good construction. You can get the deepest down into the fish with it. You know, you just pull it like that and it, you know, closes around the hook. It also has a line cutter on it, which is a big bonus. I got this from Academy as well. All this can be bought at Academy. But here, the main thing you want above all is a knife. You have to have a knife when you go fishing. Every time I forget my knife when I'm fishing, I have to go back and get it because I just do not fish without it. This is an Edgy 2 CRKT knife. I mean, it doesn't matter what knife it is. But you need a good sharp knife, you know, for fishing, especially if you're fishing with braid. It makes it much easier to cut your line and stuff because neither of these pliers can cut braid just by themselves. So you need a good fishing knife. I mean, it's just essential. And then here I'm going to talk a little bit about reels. This is Anthony's reel. This is a H2O Express reel. He has many reels, but this is one of them. This is what he fishes with the most. As you can see, he's got braid on it right now. Pretty well worn, you know. He fishes the crap out of this reel. 50 bucks, pretty cheap. Never had a problem with it.
It's not quite as smooth as this one.
Very solid reel. So that's a good option. And then this is mine. This is a Shimano Sitica. This ran me about 110 bucks. I mean, just better construction overall, but I mean, it's really a preference option. They both get the job done. This has a shorter gear ratio. This is a 5-to-1, so it reels in a little bit slower than the H2O Express. So that gives you more finesse whenever you're reeling in, you know, worms and stuff, and just an overall smoother reel. But really, if you're just getting into it or whatever, this $50 reel is perfect. You can't go wrong. It's the H2O Express metal reel. You can pick it up from Academy. That's your best bet if you're looking for a cheap reel to buy.
Alright, I just wanted to touch on rods and reels one more time because I forgot to mention, and I don't actually have my my spinning reels or rods with me. But as you know, it's just that big kind of spoolie reel. You know, it's usually left-handed reel, but those are great for windy days. I like to use those when I'm fishing finesse worm, and I'm gonna have to do another video on those just so you guys can have an idea. But please, just any comments, any questions, any requests, negative or positive comments, we'll take them all. We're new at it and trying to give you the best and most detailed tip videos and techniques. So let us know what you think. Appreciate it, guys.